Moose is a researcher and author of the book The Fake Fall of Rome, which reveals the truth behind the Roman Empire's supposed collapse and the emergence of the Roman Church. His work challenges conventional beliefs and offers forbidden knowledge that has been hidden from the masses. With over 15 years of study on ancient manuscripts, religious texts and historical documents, he exposes the extraterrestrial origins of humanity and the role of the Romans in genetic manipulation to create a race of workers. Moose's book is a warning that once read, one's thinking process will be permanently altered. And Moose joins us now. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
So, what is your book, The Fake Fall of Rome, all about?
That's an excellent question. And the answer is it's about gods, aliens, Romans and Greeks, and the white human. These are all the same. The white human is the alien who conquered and frontiered the earth long ago. He created the Negro race in his own image from mixing their DNA with Neanderthals.
So how did you get started on the topic of aliens and God and actually get interested in that?
Well, about 15 years ago, I was watching the History Channel on the television, and this Ancient Aliens show came on, and I found it very fascinating, and it was delving into the realm of forbidden knowledge. So I started finding myself interested in forbidden knowledge. So I started watching videos on YouTube and History Channel and reading books on the topics. And I was telling my friend about my findings, and he told me that I should make a video. And this led to the need for an outline for a video, which led into the plan for a book. That's how this all evolved.
And that Aliens TV show, was that a factual documentary or was that like a fiction show?
Well, it's not fiction. It's just a bunch of guys poking around at pyramids and great structures, and they're going, what happened here? Who built this? Where did this come from? So when you put your eyes on these pyramids and other structures, you know something wasn't right, because history tells us that they cut 2 million pound granite stones with bronze chisels, and that just doesn't work. Not to mention, you can't move a 2 million pound stone of granite, not even today, unless you mobilized every crane on the planet. So the fact that humans did this all by their little lonesome long, long ago is bizarre and ludicrous. So this got me wondering, what is real and where did it come from?
So what makes you a subject matter expert about this? Because there are quite a lot of people that could do some research on the internet and they're far from an expert.
That's a really good question as well. I'm an engineer by trade. I work in pharmaceutical. This is a hobby. This is not about convincing or teaching or anything like that. I'm just in this for myself. I had to know. It was making me crazy. So after I started digging and digging and digging long enough, and I found that I knew things that the world isn't supposed to know or have been censored or deleted over time or rewritten, once I started compiling this, once you study a subject long enough, whether you're formally educated or not, you become the subject matter expert.
Do you have evidence to back up your claims, just for skeptical people, I suppose?
All I can do is refer them to my source materials.
And what kind of source materials did you use?
Well, the first thing I would have you do, if you're a normal person who looks at all the books and stuff on the planet, the Holy Bible tells you lots of things. The Romans wrote that long ago. And they tell you how gods came to earth and created humans. So there you go.
For some people, that won't be convincing enough if they're not religious or they don't have a religion that follows the Bible. So is there maybe physical evidence of an alien presence on Earth?
Absolutely. All of these ancient monolithic structures are beyond the humans' understanding. The Great Pyramid was built by these aliens, not by humans. And the reasons for the building of it are still unknown to humans today. But I'll tell you right now, they built it as a lighthouse for spaceships because they didn't have an airport with a control tower and a light that spins so they can see where to land and lit runways. All they had was this dead cold rock called Earth, and they had to find where to land. So they built this pyramid and put a bunch of crystals inside it to power it, and it shone bright light in all four directions. So at night, you couldn't miss it if you were coming in to land on Earth. And if you were one of the humans on Earth, you used it for all earthly navigation within hundreds of miles because you could easily see it.
So why does it have to be aliens that helped humans out and not some kind of other species that may be now extinct?
Because the ancient cuneiform tablets, which I have studied, basically tell you the history of Earth from the beginning forward. Everybody out there right now is looking at the history of Earth from now, and they try to read backwards. These texts are Yahweh landing on Earth and starting to build right then and there. And you got to do a long reading before you even get to where they create humans.
Why do you think the information that you've discovered isn't more widely known? I think it's a thing that a lot of people say about aliens having came to Earth and built the pyramids, but most people wouldn't believe it. So I guess why do you think most people aren't convinced about it?
Well, these aliens are in control of you and me and every other human. And if you know your master and you know you're in control, you're more likely to revolt and stand up against them. But if you don't even know it, you just keep on working and providing for them and taking care of them without even knowing it. So they don't want to be found out. They hide in the shadows and they lay low and they let their workers on the front lines do their bidding.
So who is our master then?
Well, it would be Yahweh and Muhammad and their offspring. They had children. When Yahweh had children, one of them, his first son, was named Marduk. And if you can find him in history as Marduk of Babylon. And when he married Sarpanet was an earthling. Marduk was an off-worlder. And this created a big mess among his people and really upset a lot of people. But the real big deal with that wedding was that the astronauts, the 300 astronauts that were at the way station on Mars, were upset because they wanted to take wives and conjugate, but they weren't allowed to. So they formed a pact. 200 of those 300 formed a pact to break the rules and come to Earth and steal women. And they did that right after Marduk's wedding to Sarpanet. 200 of these people came to Earth and abducted women. And then they they splintered off to Rome and Greece. And this is where the workers splintered away from the gods and stood on the earth in the open as what they really were. Now, these Romans totally skipped the native phase of evolution. They went right straight to domination. They gathered up groups of slaves, the Negroes they had created. They enslaved them, and there was their workers. They started just generating inventions. Constantly, they had new inventions coming out. The aqueducts are just off the charts today. The bridge, the cart, I can name them for hours, new inventions that the Romans and the Greeks. They even invented language. Look up any words, legal, any medical, all of them, scientific. They all have roots to Greece and Rome. This is the cradle of civilization, and it came from a highly advanced alien nation. You can't just create inventions every day or week that are just mind-boggling, that have been lost in history and reinvented, is the word, thousands of years later. I mean, they were wildly ahead of their time. And to counter that, I would say, why didn't any other human groups on the earth have big, wild invention moments? Only the Greeks and Romans did. They both were brothers. They worshiped the same people. They had different names for them. They spoke almost the same language, which was the mother tongue from home. Their leaders, the royals, the gods, were very upset with them and eventually had to take them down a notch and put them out of business. And when they did, they simply annihilated the Roman Empire and changed the name to the Roman Church. Same bunch of people dominating you, putting you on a pike and burning you for being a Christian. Now they have the Council of Nicaea, and right after that, they're disbanded and they become the Roman church, and now they're your fathers, and you're supposed to kiss their feet and kneel when you see them. They burned you last week. This week you're supposed to kiss their feet or they'll chop off your head. Now, how does religion work where you believe in me or I'm going to chop off your head? That's not very holy, is it?
No. And what evidence do you have for the fact that the Roman Empire changed its name to the Roman Church?
Well, the history books reveal that the Western Roman Empire fell back in 450 AD. And shortly after that, we now had the Roman Church, both of which were totally in control of humans. And this is why the Puritans came to America, because they wanted to get away from the religious persecution. Now, how do those words even go together? If you were religious and holy, you wouldn't be persecuting anybody. So the Puritans came to America to escape this. They didn't want their heads chopped off if they believed in something else. But if you're a Roman and you're the boss and somebody doesn't believe in you, well, you're done.
Well, what would you say is the main takeaway from the book, The Fake Fall of Rome?
Well, you can love them, you can hate them, you can worship them, and you can fight them. You do you, but at the end of the day, you actually have a lot to thank them for. Every single thing, actually, because without them, we would be Neanderthals and natives at best. Knowledge is power. Get educated.
And do you have any more books on the way that you're working on?
I'm considering some, but no, I don't have anything in the works. Would you like to recommend something?
I don't know. If new evidence comes to light that you've found, maybe a sequel, so to speak. But I guess it's up to you, really.
30 books could be written from this one book. I kept it brief and concise because I didn't want to get buried in a really big, long read. I just wanted to get the points and make the points and get it out there.
Well, where are we able to find this book, The Fake Fall of Rome?
Amazon paperback, The Fake Fall of Rome by Moose.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great having you on.
Thank you for having me. And my last words will be, I am not suicidal.